Thank you for joining us for today's message. We believe we can go anywhere in the world from right here in Lamarque, Texas, and reach people just like you. If you'd like more information about Abundant Life, please visit ALCC.org. You can also text the number below if you would like to support the church financially. Be ready for a powerful message that's going to impact your life.
I've kind of been in this passage of Scripture for the last couple of weeks. It's just kind of something that I've been dealing with personally and just kind of thinking about, and it's been a place where God has been speaking to me. And so Isaiah chapter 43 and verse 18 is where we'll start tonight. And it says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past." He says, "See, I'm doing a new thing." He says, "It springs up. Do you not perceive it?" He said, "I'm making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." And it's interesting in this scripture because when we read this, and I'm not going to talk about this tonight because I'm talking about where we are today, because in previous services I've talked about the past and then I've talked about the future, but tonight we're going to talk about the present. And so we see this and it says, "Behold," he says, "I'm doing a new thing." And right before that he said, "Forget the former things." And so we always tend to think, and I've talked about this, that what he's really talking about is forget all the bad stuff that's happened in your life. And that's important, but what he's really talking about in this context is he's saying forget all the good stuff too. Forget the way that I did things. Forget the way that I answered your prayers last time. Because you got to realize just because God did it this way one time doesn't mean he's going to do it the same way again. 99% of the time, God is going to answer a prayer differently than he did the last time. God is not an equation. This isn't algebra. It's not like Holy Spirit algebra, that A plus B equals C every time. It doesn't work like that. Look, 2 plus 2 equals 4, but God can say 2 plus 2 equals 12. God has that ability. Why? Because he makes the rules. And so if he did it one way one time, it doesn't mean he's going to do it again the next time. So he's saying that to the nation. He said, man, forget the way I did it last time. I'm not going to deliver you the same way. He said, do not dwell in the past. Do not camp out and live in the past, because the past can be your greatest ally or it can be your greatest defeat. It can be your greatest struggle. Even if your past was good, you can still hold on to the good. And so God is saying it's time to move forward. Then he says, I'm doing a new thing. He says, now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? And that's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about tonight embracing the present. Embrace what's going on right here and right now. Because it's easy for us to talk about the past. It's easy to say, well, that happened and this happened and it was behind me. And we can put on a stiff upper lip and a strong face and say, I'm moving forward. And we can talk about that. And a lot of times it's easy and it's true, because what we tend to do is sometimes we glamorize the past and we talk about how great the past was, the good old days, because we forget that in the midst of those good old days, we were miserable. In the midst of it, we were disappointed and disgusted and angry and bitter and hurt. We were in the middle of it, and we were miserable in that. But then we got out of it, and we're like, man, it wasn't so bad after all. Like, man, the past was great. Those good old days. Man, I hate the good old days. I hate it. I don't want to live. I wasn't born at a time. I've heard people talk about that. I should have been born in the 1800s. Not me. I should have been born right when I was born. I love when I was born. Because, man, I got a cell phone that can tell me anything in the world. I got an air conditioner. I got a car that I don't have to ride a horse somewhere. Like, I got running water in my house and a toilet that works. Like, I'm living in a good time. I can watch TV. I can do anything. I live in a great time. I don't wish that I was born some other time. I'm happy where God put me. And look, the good old days don't exist. They're only good because they're not our days anymore. So watch, we can talk about the past and it's easy. And watch this, we can also talk about the future and it's easy. Because we can have hope for the future. We can have hope that tomorrow's going to be a great day. Why? Because it's not here yet. So we can say, man, yesterday wasn't so bad. Tomorrow's going to be great. But where I'm at now, sometimes it's easy to complain about our present. It's easy to get stuck in the mundane, stuck in the daily struggle, the daily grind. And because we're in it today, we can kind of get to the place where we complain about where we are. We hope for better. We say it wasn't so bad, but where I am is miserable. And so we get to those places, and I'm going to try and talk to you today about how to embrace the present, embrace where you are today, and know that today is not forever. Today is not forever, because it's easy to glamorize yesterday and fantasize about tomorrow, but the important thing is, what are you doing today? Man, maybe your today's difficult. Maybe you're in a tough situation. Maybe you're going through something today. But the great news is today is not forever. Because sometimes days are difficult. I understand that. We're what, maybe 2 years, just a little bit over 2 years removed from when Hurricane Harvey came through and hit. And was anybody in here affected? Like your house got flooded? You were affected by Hurricane Harvey. Almost everybody, right? A bunch of us were. My house was not flooded. Man, thank God, we lucked out. It got about 10 feet from our door, but the water didn't get to my house. But my parents' house got flooded. And so they had just moved here like a month before. They just redid their house, just got all new appliances. That day, they got delivered. And then the flood hit and ruined everything. They had, 18, 20 inches of water in their house. And so they were miserable. And they complained for 2 solid months. And for 2 solid months, they were like, we hate Texas. We shouldn't have moved here. This is miserable. I hate this. The house is never going to get right. Just day after day after day. And they're going to watch this and be like, we weren't that bad. You were absolutely that bad. And you know what? I was out of the situation because my house wasn't flooded. They were living in my house. So I was like, it's not that bad. And they're like, yes, it is. It's terrible. And I was like, I know it's terrible now. But I said, you are going to look back on this. And I said, you remember I'm saying this. I said, you're going to look back on this and realize it wasn't as bad as you think it is. And a little while ago, I was talking to them on the phone, and we were talking about the storm. They said, man, it's been 2 years. And I said, man, can you believe it? And they said, you know what? They said, we remember what you said, that we will look back and say it wasn't that bad. And they said, you know what? You are exactly right. Was it bad in the middle? You bet it was. It was miserable. It was miserable for everybody because everybody knew somebody who was affected. Everybody was affected. Everybody, just the heaviness in the area. Everybody. But the reality of it is, man, once we get a little separation, like Pastor Howell was talking this morning, once we get separated from the miserable circumstance, we can look back and say, man, it was tough, but it wasn't that bad. Why? Because we got out of it. We got through it. And I believe that what you're going through today, God is going to give you that ability. What? To get some separation and to get through whatever's going on in your life. So watch this. I'm going to give you 3 points tonight. If you take notes, you can write them down. The first point, we're talking about embracing the present. Number 1 is God is with you. God is with you. No matter what, no matter where, no matter who you are, no matter where you've been or what you've done, God is with you. The Bible says Moses had left Egypt. He was running from God. He was standing in a valley, and he looked up and he saw a burning bush, and he went to where the bush was, and he stood there, and God said, take off your shoes, because what? Where you are is holy ground. He said the holy ground wasn't when you were a prince in Egypt. The holy ground isn't going to be when you're in the promised land. He said where you are right here and right now, you're standing on holy ground. And I believe God is saying that same thing to you. Where you are now, God says, I am with you. I am causing where you are to be holy ground. You are where God wants you to be. God is with you. God is for you. God is anxious to do something great in your life. Look, the Bible said if God is with us, who could be against us? Who could ever stand against the people of God if our God really is with us? And that's who God is, man. God is the God who is standing with you, and everywhere you walk is holy ground. Every step you take is holy ground. Why? Because God is with you. God is working for you. I hear people all the time they say, man, I used to walk with God. I used to walk with God, but then, I made some mistakes and I went a different way, and man, I need to come back. And watch, you might have left God, but God never left you. You might have walked away from him, but he has never one time walked away from you. He's never left you. He's never forgotten you. The Bible says God will never forsake you. And look, mom and dad, that's good news for you, because if you've got a child that is running away from God, they're trying to turn their back and say, I don't want anything to do with him. Look, they can run as far as they want, go as deep as they can, but the Bible says God is with them forever. It doesn't matter where they go, who they are, what they do, God is with them. Psalm 139 says they can go to the heights of heaven or the depths of hell, and God is there. God is with them every moment of every day. So they can run, but I say they can't hide. They cannot get away from God. They might have left God, but God will never leave them. No, God is working. You say, man, how do you know that God is with me? What proof do you have? You're here tonight. You're here. You came to church on a Sunday night. There's a lot of people that stayed home. A lot of people that are doing other things, and there's 1,000 other things you could do. And look, I don't hold it against them. I'm just saying the reason that you're here tonight, I believe, is because God is with you. God is making you, helping you, allowing you opportunities to get in the same place as He is at the same time. God is doing things for you. Watch, He's not just the God of the heavens, like the Old Testament says, the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. That's not just the God we serve. He's not the God of just the super elite Christians and the mega churches and the big time people. No, He is the God of you. He is the God of every single one of us, every single person, every single moment of our lives. That's the God that we serve. And I love this because God is with us. God's not with us to stand there with a switch and hit our hands when we make a mistake. God's not with us to ridicule us, to tell us we're doing wrong, to snap us back into line with Him. No, that's not the God we serve. God is with us to show us how much He loves us, how much He cares about us. God is there because He's anxious to see us do great. Look, that's the way I am with my children, man. And Mom and Dad, I know you're the same way with your kids. And mine are just little now, and so I'm seeing it on a different level. And man, they'll run around and they'll be doing stuff that I don't want them to do. But you know what? I could snap them back, but you know what? I just let them go a little bit. And I just make sure they know that I'm there. And I probably overdo it, but I'm like, be careful, be careful, be careful. Because they're like jumping off of things and into stuff, and they're getting scratched and bruised and bleeding. And Catherine's like, what are you doing? I was like, I was there. Like, they're okay. They're not dying. But I let them make mistakes. I let them fall down. I let them roll around. I let them get dirty. Why? Because it's important for me to let them know that they can mess up and I'm still going to be there. That they can make a mistake and I'm still going to be there. That they can fall down and I'm going to help them get up. Why? Because that's what God does with us. Could God step in every moment and stop you from ever doing bad? I guess He could, but He never will. God's not like that, because watch, if God stopped you from ever doing wrong, then you would be a robot. You would not have free will. Because if you wanted to make a bad decision, but God didn't allow you to, then all you are is just a robot. You're just something that's programmed to only do what God wants you to do. And look, that's the beauty of being a human being, is we're not like that. We have the ability to choose, and we choose to serve God. We choose to love God. We choose to do right. And there's something that's so much better when we have that choice. He is the God who is. The God who is with us, the God who loves us. The Bible says that you can walk through the valley of the shadow of death and you will not fear evil. Why? Because God is with us. It says, surely His goodness and His mercy will follow you everywhere that you go. And I love this because it's like God's goodness and God's mercy. It's following us, but I believe it's pushing us. That it's helping us, it's leading us, because we're led by it and we're also followed by it. And it's forcing us and blessing us and causing us to be into the good things that God, He's pushing us out of lack and out of disappointment and out of brokenness and out of hurt and out of fear and out of pain. And He's pushing us into blessing and into goodness and into love and into mercy. That's what God does. God is helping us in every step we take. He's taking us out of the bad and helping us into the good. So point number one, you got to understand that God is with you. Point number two, that God is working with you today. God is working with us. Now, I want God to only work for me. That would make it a whole lot easier, right? If God would just work for me so I can sit back, kick my feet up, and do nothing, and God will do all the work. That would be an ideal relationship. But the reality is that's not the way it works. God doesn't work for you only. He works with you. That's important because that means there's something required of you for God to do something great. So watch, it's not just he works for us, he also works with us. Isaiah 43:19, he says, I'm making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. Now watch, that word making doesn't mean, it's not a miracle word. It's not like God snaps his fingers and a way is made. That word literally, it's a working word. I'm making a way. It's a word that means to work. It's a word that means to put your hands on it, to work it, to fashion it. It's kind of like road construction. I don't know if any of y'all are about tired of the construction that's happening on the freeway right now. I've been tired of it. I was tired of it before it started. I looked at this stuff the other day. It's like through 2030. We're going to be having road construction on 45. It's just going to be nonstop. 2020, 2025, 2030. Like, it's road construction always. I wish that they could snap their fingers and it would be done, and we would just be driving on great roads. But the reality is it's going to be a minute. There's going to be exits that are shut down. There's going to be feeder roads that are shut down. There's going to be just stuff that are out there and things, and there's construction that's happening. And you know what? I feel like that's kind of like our lives. I wish that I could snap my fingers and everything would be perfect and I would be great and I would just have everything put together, but it doesn't work like that. I am under construction. So are you. Hit your neighbor and say, man, I'm under construction. Those wives are like, you're dang right you are. I'm under construction. I'm working on it. I'm in the process. I'm in the process of figuring it out. I'm in the process of getting better. I'm not there yet, but thank God I'm on my way. And that's where we are in life is we're under construction. And you know, in the whatever, how many ever thousands of years that mankind has been on this earth, you know how many tables that God has miraculously made? 0. God doesn't make tables. God makes trees. See, we need tables and we want chairs and we want stuff, but God doesn't make tables. God makes trees, and we make tables. So it'd be like you praying and saying, God, I need a miracle table, and God's like, cool, here's a pine cone. You're like, yo, I didn't ask for a pine cone. I asked for a miracle table, God. And God's like, yeah, the miracle is you're going to plant the seed. The seed's going to grow into a tree. You'll cut the tree down and make it into a table. Like, that's the way God works. And we want the miracle table, but God said, no, I don't do miracle tables. I do trees. I grow trees, and watch, I help you make the table. Look, when Noah had to build the ark, it wasn't like God built the ark. God told him what to do, and Noah built the ark. God didn't snap his fingers and the ark was made. How much easier would that have been? No, God didn't do that. What did God do? God said, no, I'll grow the trees, and you build the ark. I'll do my part, and you do your part. And that's the way God works. You say, look, man, I want a miracle in my life. God's like, good, I'll give you the pieces for the miracle. God, I want to pray and have everything in my world be perfect. God said, yeah, it doesn't work like that. It's a process. There's a process that we go through. Look, the miracle, the tree shows up through the seed. And there's time involved, and there's a process involved. And I don't know about you, but I'm interested in the destination. I want to get there already. I'm like, God, I would love for you to take me from here to here, and I don't have to do anything. God said, yeah, it doesn't work like that. God said, it's not about the destination. God is less interested in our destinations and more interested in our journeys. God said, I know you want to be there, but God said, my miracle is in you getting there. Because in the process of getting there, in the process of you going from A to B, you're going to grow stronger, and you're going to be better, and you're going to have more character, and you're going to have more insight, and you're going to have more ability. Watch, David didn't go from a nobody to killing a giant. David went through the process of tending sheep, of killing lions, of killing bears, and then when he faced the giant, he wasn't worried. Why? Because he'd been through the process, because it's not a destination, it's a journey. God is interested in the character that is being built. It's a construction process. I'm under construction. It's like in Jeremiah chapter 18, it says Jeremiah goes down to the potter's house. God says, go down and look at the potter. And he watched how he took a formless piece of clay and he made a pot out of the clay. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, man, it's like the movie Ghost. I don't know if any of y'all saw the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, and Patrick Swayze's the ghost and Demi Moore's not, and then they're playing Unchained Melody, and Patrick Swayze's like got his hands around her hands, and they shaping the pot, and I was like, man, that's how God is. God is the ghost. God is Patrick Swayze in this situation, and you're Demi Moore. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. And God, watch, has his hands around your hands, and you're shaping the pot. Y'all, I lost 3/4 of y'all. Y'all are like, I don't know. 70% of you hadn't seen the movie Ghost. The other 30% are like, I'm not interested in being Demi Moore. And I'm like, well, Patrick Swayze's cool, so what's up? But watch, this is how our life is, man. God has his hands on your hands. God is helping you, shaping you, molding you so that you can mold your situation. God is helping you so you can help others. That's what God does. That is the process that we're going through. God is making a way for you. And watch, God says, I will make a way in the wilderness. You're like, all right, God, when's the way going to show up? And God points at the shovel and the wheelbarrow. He says, it's right there. You're like, yeah, but I want the way. And God's like, yeah, I know, that's how it's going to get there. I'm going to show you where to do it, and you're going to dig, and you're going to put dirt in the wheelbarrow. You're going to haul it away, and water's going to show up. Because God says, I do dirt and water, and you do wheelbarrows and shovels. That's how God works. And I don't know about you, but I would rather God do wheelbarrows and shovels. I'd be like, yo, it'd be a whole lot easier, God, if you would work like that for me. But instead, God says, no, I will tell you and guide you and give you the strength to do what you can do. And God says, and I'll do what I can do. Look, don't try and do God's job, and don't expect God to do yours. It's a good word right there, right? That's not an easy word, but it's a good one. Don't try and do God's job. Stop worrying about things you can't control. Stop stressing over things that don't matter in your life. Don't worry about it, because you can't change it. I'm not worried about it. I'll pray about it, but I'm not worried about it, because there's 1,000 things that only God can control, only God can do. And so what I do is I do me, and I let God do him. And so I can't be God, and I can't expect God to be me. And so I'll do what only I can do, and I'll let God do what only he can do. Psalm 90 and verse 12. Because we're talking about the journey, we're talking about the destination. Watch this, Psalm 90 and 12 says, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Teach us to number our days. That word number our days, it means to assign our days, to find a way and to prepare or to set our days. Teach us, God, to number, to assign our days, because watch this, if you don't assign your life, it will be assigned for you. If you don't assign your life, if you don't set it up, it will automatically be set up for you. And the problem is 99% of the time, if something else assigns your life, sets it up, they're not going to do it the way you want it. It's not going to be right for you. So if you want it done the way you want it done, maybe you're going to be the one that has to do it. If you don't assign your life, it'll be assigned for you. If you don't assign your budget, assign your lifestyle, if you don't do it, it'll happen organically for you, but it won't ever be right. I saw a statistic the other day that says the average American watches 36 hours of television a week. 36 hours. You're like, I don't watch 36 hours, 32, but not 36. Those people got nothing to do, man. They need to get a life. 36 hours. Look, that's a full-time job that you're not only not getting paid for, but you're paying for it. You're paying for that full-time job. 36 hours. Most of it, they say, is spent on, wasted on, I don't know, cable news networks, CNN, Fox, MSNBC. Watching the news. And the reality is, I don't watch news. I tell Catherine, I say, I don't even know what channel the news is on. Like, I don't watch news because there's never any good news. Like, it's never good. It's always terrible. It's always bad. And I'm like, man, I need some good news in my life. I watch the Food Network because they always cook something at the end. And it always looks all right. I'm like, hey, that's good news, man. I like that. I can get down with that sandwich. This is good. And so that's what I'm watching that, and like, Mickey Mouse in my place right now. Like, that's the news I watch. Like, whatever Mickey's doing, I'm buying. I love it, you know? But the reality is, man, so many times we watch the news and it's just terrible. It's bad news. And the problem with cable news is they take everything and make it a huge deal. Like, they'll take everything and make it so bad. And so I'll watch it and just be like, oh my God, what are we going to do? I'm like wanting to keep my kids at the house and never let them out of their room because I'm scared of what's going on in the world. But how many of y'all know we can't live like that? I can't let CNN assign my days. I can't let Fox News assign my days. I can't let it be an excuse for me not to live my life. Look, if you don't assign the values in your family, they'll be assigned by somebody else. The media will assign them. Movie stars will assign it. Musicians will assign it. Your school teachers will assign your values. So you have to assign that. You have to number your own days. Look, if you don't assign the spiritual temperature in your house, somebody else will. If you don't number your days, somebody else will. The enemy will. I promise you. If you don't assign that in your own family. And I talked about it just for a second this morning, but we're very intentional with our children. And again, I let my kids do so much stuff. I let them get away with, for lack of a better term, I let them get away with murder in my house. Like, they do crazy things because they're boys and they're mercy and they're crazy. And so they're like, I've got the boys now. We got a swimming pool in the backyard. And they say, Dad, we want to go under the water. I'm like, cool, let's go. And so I'm taking them, holding them, and we go all the way under the water, touch the bottom, and then they come up. They're 2, and like people would be like, why are you doing that? You're going to kill your kids. I was like, they want to do it. I don't know. But they love it. We did it 100 times yesterday. I got tired. They were like, more. They want me to pick them up. They say, we want to go high. And so I'm like, cool. So I pick them up and throw them as high as I can in the air. And then they hit the water. And the first time I did it, Catherine was like, oh, my God. And I was like, they want to do it. Like, what do you want me to do? Say no? She's like, yeah, that's what a responsible father would do. I was like, yeah, but he wouldn't be any fun. Like, that's the household we got, right? Like, right or wrong, judge me if you want, but that's who we are. But we set boundaries in different ways. So there's some ways where we just let our kids go, but there's other ways where we got boundaries. And I talked about it this morning. One of our boundaries in our household is nobody says, I can't. We don't allow that in our house. We don't allow that word in our house. Nobody says, I can't do this. We say, we need help. And so I catch myself. I say, I can't do it. I say, I need help with this. So my boys will come up and they're like, Dad, I can't do it. And I was like, no. You can. You just need help. And they'll be like, Dad, I need help. And so now they are always asking for help. Why is that important? You say, it's just semantics. So what? But no, it's important because I don't want to build a mentality in their mind that they can't do something. I want them to think they can do anything. And then if they can't do something, they're going to find somebody that will help them to make them able to do something in the future. And I think that's important. It's important for our kids to not have a mentality of quitting, but to have a mentality of if I can't do something, I'm going to find somebody that will enable me to do what I need to do in life. And that's the kind of attitude I want to instill in my children. And that's the attitude God is trying to instill in you. That look, if you can't do something, then you say, God, I may not be able to, but I know you are the God of the heavens and the earth, and I know you can help me. So God, I need help. If you can't pay your bills, ask God for wisdom. If you can't get out of bed, ask God for strength. You've got to realize God is there ready to help you. You've just got to ask for it. You have to go to God with help. But so many of us, we have got this idea that taking responsibility is foreign and it's not something that we want to do. I'm like that sometimes. I don't like taking responsibility for stuff. I don't like, when something bad happens and I got to take responsibility, I don't like that. I like to say, I'm guilty of that. I make excuses, and I'm like, no, it was this fault. Like, oh, man, I'm sorry that I was late. I got a flat tire. And they're like, no, you didn't. You got run flats on your car. Like, you can't get a flat tire. I was like, well, somebody else got a flat tire. And I was like, I don't know. But watch, here's the reality of life is, look, it's easy to make excuses why we can't do something. That started in the beginning. Adam ate the fruit that Eve gave him. And God was like, hey, did you eat that? He was like, man, God, look, I didn't want to eat it, but she gave it to me. The woman that you gave me, she gave it to me. She was naked. How could I say no? He was like, she had no clothes on. She was like, eat this fruit. I was like, cool, whatever, I'll eat it. That's what he said. I didn't say it. And so watch, from the beginning, and then God goes to her. He's like, hey, why'd you give him that fruit? She's like, man, the devil made me do it. I don't know. It was the devil's fault. And from day one, mankind has been making excuses. And from that day to this day, excuses are made all the time. It was the devil. It's the economy. It's because of this. It's because of that. No, you got to stop making excuses. Start taking responsibility. Even if it's for nobody else but just for you. Take personal responsibility, because I promise it might hurt, but it's going to make you better. It's going to make you a better person. It's going to make you stronger on the other side. And watch, we have to understand this concept, and I'm going to tell you something that I think is so important, that every good thing in your life always, almost always, comes on the other side of a difficult or painful decision. I'm going to say it again. Every good thing in your life, 99% of the time, is going to come on the other side of a difficult or painful decision. You're not in shape. You're overweight. Why? Because working out hurts. It's difficult to work out. It's not convenient. It's not easy. It hurts a little bit. I'll go to the gym and I'll push weights because pushing weight is easy for me. I can lift a lot of weight and it doesn't hurt me. But cardio makes me sweat and it makes me breathe heavy and it hurts, and so I don't want to do it, so I don't do it. I can lift weights all day with anybody, but I don't like to do cardio. That's the problem. That's why I'm constantly fighting my way, because I don't do what I know I need to. Why? Because it hurts. Because it hurts. You don't have those conversations you know you're supposed to have with your spouse. Why? Because it might hurt. You say, man, I wish I had more money at the end of the month, but you don't want to take a look at your budget. You don't want to take a look at where you're spending your money, because you might have to cut something out that's going to hurt. You might have to cut out that daily coffee run to Starbucks. My God, I was paying $5.35 for a cup of coffee. I was like, what is this? What world do I live in? They got $5.35 to sell me dirty water. I don't get it. It's insane. But I pull up every day and buy it. And so I'm like, man, I got to quit this. Watch this. Or you're paying for cable that you don't even watch. You don't even watch it. You're not watching 400 channels. 150 of them are in Korean, and you don't even speak Korean. You don't watch none of that. You're watching HGTV, you watch the news, and you watch the Food Network and Disney Channel. That's all we watch. Like, what is this? But we spend money on all this stuff. But watch, so many of us, we make New Year's resolutions, but we break them. Why? Because the resolutions that we make are difficult decisions. It hurts a little bit. Comes on the end of a painful decision. Why? Because it takes work. Work might hurt you, but it's good for you. It's good for you to do those things. It's good for you to hurt a little bit. Why? Because it changes you and it makes you better. Lamentations chapter 3, and man, I never come out of Lamentations. Lamentations chapter 3, but I was like, man, this works perfect. So I'm coming out of Lamentations today. Lamentations chapter 3, verse 27. It is good for a man to bear the yoke while he is young. You know what that means? It means it's good to work today to make tomorrow better. You ever see that cartoon when you were a kid, or hear the story of the grasshopper and the ants? And the ants are working, and the ants are hauling their leaves, and the grasshopper's like playing the fiddle and living life. Grasshopper's like, man, life is good. This summer's awesome. And the ants are like, yo, it's great now, but it's going to be winter in a minute. Grasshopper's like, man, it's never going to be winter. Look at the sun. It's so hot outside. I love this. And he's playing his fiddle. I don't know. That's the one I saw. And so what happens is pretty soon winter comes, and that grasshopper's like banging on the ant's door like, hey, I know y'all got some food in there. I know you got some warm stuff in there. I wish that I had that. And he's like, man, you should have been working. Then the grasshopper dies. And I was like, whoa, this is pretty intense for like kids, right? But that's the world we live in. It's better to work now so that tomorrow you can be better. It's better to what? Bear the yoke. Bear the yoke while you are young. You might be looking around and be like, yo, I'm not as young as I was once. I'm not young anymore. Anybody in here not young anymore? Keep your hands down. Chill out. You're not young anymore, right? That's what you're thinking. You're thinking, I'm old. I'm not young anymore. What are you talking about? I should have worked when I was young. What am I going to do now? Look, this is dealing with you now. Why? Because you are as young right now as you're ever going to be again. Let's change that perspective, right? Let's think a little bit different. You might think, I'm old right now. I'm however old you are. I don't even know. I don't buy into that trap anymore. I used to say whatever old was in my mind, but I don't say that anymore. Like, you might be 110 because that's old, right? We can all agree. But watch, you might be old in your mind, but you got to realize you are as young today as you're ever going to be again. So why not do something today? Why not start today? Why not make a decision today to press into tomorrow, to work for tomorrow? You know what they say? They say that dreams are free. Dreaming's free, but hustle is sold separately. To dream is free, man. You can dream all day long. Everybody can dream. Everybody can dream, but if you want to hustle, you got to work. It's sold separately. If you actually want to make that dream come to pass, come true, then you got to hustle for it. You got to do some work. You got to go and get it. It's like, man, I bought my daughter a bicycle a while back, and I had it ordered in from Amazon and shipped to the house, and I was excited. I came in a big box. I was like, perfect. This thing's put together. Opened it up. Some assembly required. I was like, you got to be kidding me, some assembly. I don't know how to put together a bicycle. I had to sit there and watch YouTube videos for 2 hours because the instructions they gave me were trash. And I was like, who can put this together? But I was looking at this bicycle, and I was like, man, the bicycle came, and I thought this is perfect. But then I had to put it together. I had to work to make it come together. Well, your life is the same way. You got everything you think going for you. You're like, man, I can dream great things. God can do big things. But God said, yeah, but the hustle, the work is necessary. It's sold separately. You got to go to work in order for me to do something for you, God says. Work is required. Faith without works is dead. You can dream all day long, but if you don't do something about the dreams, all they are is dreams. Point number 3, if you're taking notes. Point number 3, got to recognize that God is with us, that God is working for us and with us. And point number 3 today is that God will help you today. God will help you. Not just work with you, not just work for you, not just be with you, but God will help you. That's the God that we serve. We serve the God who is desperate to help. He wants to help. I was telling my kids, man, don't say I can't say I need help. Why? Because I'm better than them. I'm stronger than them. I help them. God says, I will give you what? Streams in the desert. That's talking about when it talks about water, when it talks about these streams in the desert, it's talking prophetically about the Holy Spirit. Watch, the Holy Spirit will help you. Whatever you need, God will help you. Look, I don't know what kind of decisions you got to make. I don't know what difficult decisions or what painful decisions you're going to have to make for your life to go to that next level. And maybe you're content where you are, and that's great. But maybe you're believing for something more. You are asking God for something greater. You're hoping that there's something more out there. Look, if you want it, all you got to do is ask for it. You just got to ask God. And then watch. Ask Him to tell you what to do. Say, God, I need some help. I need you to guide me. I need you to lead me. I need you to help me make this decision. And then watch. Help this decision be easier. There's nothing wrong with asking God to make something that may be painful less painful. Because, man, if you got to change your budget and you got to cut back on some things, that's painful. It's not convenient. It's not comfortable. But watch, if you ask God to help you, I promise He will. I promise that God will do something for you that's going to help you, that's going to lead you. Maybe you're asking God to help you move to a spiritually stronger place. God, where can you guide me? Where can you lead me? What can I do? Maybe that means you got to get up a little bit earlier. That you got to read your Bible a little bit more. You got to pray a little bit more. Maybe you need to, you're here on a Sunday night, so, obviously you're coming to church at least once a week, which is awesome. Maybe you come 2 times a week or 3 times a week. I don't know what your deal is. Maybe you got to come on Tuesday night to prayer, or maybe you need to wake up early to exercise or to eat right, or maybe you got a bad relationship with your kids and you need to spend some time with them. I catch myself doing that sometimes. I'll come home and I'm tired and I'm cranky and I'm just like, man, I just want to sit down. Rest. And my kids are like, Dad, we want to put on masks and punch you. And I'm like, what is this? I just want to rest. And they're just punching me. And you know what? I'm like, that's fine. Because watch, I know that, again, it's stupid, right? It's an easy decision. I'm tired, but I'm only going to get to do this a few times. A few hundred times. I don't know, but I'm like, you know what? It's worth the 10 minutes of my life that it's going to cost me to spend time with these kids and to just enjoy this process and to chase them around the house. And because someday my kids are going to go to college and I'm going to be the one crying. And I'm going to be the one that's like, oh my God, what am I going to do with my life now? My kids are gone. Like, So I'm like, man, I'm soaking every minute up. And watch, it's really not that difficult of a decision, but in the moment it is. In the moment I'm like, man, I don't want to do this. But watch, maybe in your life it's your budget, or maybe it's your family, or maybe it's your money, or maybe it's your health. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's your difficult decision. I don't know what's going to be painful to you, but watch, if you ask God, He'll help you. I promise He will. God says, I am the one who makes a way in the wilderness, who gives you streams in the wasteland. God said, I'm the one who gives you the wheelbarrow and the shovel. You just got to step out. And watch, your back won't get tired and the wheelbarrow won't get full. Why? Because God's working with you. God's helping you. Watch, I believe for every person, if you ask God to guide you, you say, God, what can I do to make this situation better? What can I do to make my family better, make my life better? Whatever it is that you need, if you ask God to guide you, I promise He'll give you wisdom. And I believe inside of every one of us, there's greatness. There are big, great, awesome things. But in order to tap into that, it's going to take some tough decisions. It's going to take some tough calls by you. It may take some change in your life. It may take some change who you talk to, or what you listen to, or what you read. It may take some change. Like, I love to read. I'm a reader. I've always been a reader, and we've got 1,000 of books. I got easy 1,000 books in my house. We got books on top of books. Because I'm a reader. I love to read. And I love reading fiction. I like stories and different things, and I'll read all kinds of stuff. But man, there was a season in my life, I'm still in it, that I don't read anything that doesn't help me. So I put down every fiction book, everything that's just a story that's nice. I put all of them down, and I only read them 1 or 2 times a year in about a 2-week span if I go on a vacation. Then I'll read like 12 books on a vacation. I'll stay up till like 3 in the morning reading a book. I used to before I had kids anyway. Now I just try and keep the kids quiet because I don't want them like banging on the walls or something. I don't even know. But I only read things now that help me, that build me, that make me better in what I do as a minister and as a leader and as a believer. I only read things that encourage that part of me. And it's not bad if I read fiction. It's just I recognized in myself that I had to make a decision that if I was going to spend time doing something, I had to spend that time enriching myself, making me better. And again, I'm talking about difficult decisions that you're like, that's not even difficult. Like, that's easy, but I don't know what yours is. I'm trying to give you an example of something easy that maybe will help your difficult one be not so difficult. But watch, if you ask God to make you better, to make you greater, I promise He will. I guarantee that God will make you better. But watch, it may take a tough call. It may take something that's going to change. But I promise you that the future you is waiting, is applauding, is begging you to make that right decision, to make that painful decision today so tomorrow can be better, to make that tough decision today so that tomorrow can be greater. And I promise that if future you, if a year from now you could look back and speak to today you, they'd be like, man, please make that decision now. Don't wait till January 1st. Don't wait for some other time. Don't wait till you got everything together. Do it now. Because watch, how many of us, if we could look back on our life and say, man, I wish that I would have followed God a year before, or 5 years before, 10 years before, or a week before. If I'd have just done it then, imagine where I could be. And watch, I thank God that He's brought us where we are. But I promise every one of us has a place where if we could look back, we say, man, I wish I'd have done something then, made that decision then, how much further I would be. But watch, I believe today, Pastor talked about it this morning. He said, man, God is the only one that can catch your years up, that can catch your time up. You can always catch money up, and you can always catch things up, and you can always catch people up, but God says, I'm the only one that can catch your time.
To learn more, visit walterhallam.net. Here you'll find a list of resources to help you with your daily walk in Christ.